Go ahead and kick it off. GM, everybody. Welcome
Cool.
to yet another episode of Wake and Jake. You guys know the drill. We're going to talk through the stuff of the week. Happy to hear your guys' thoughts. It's never financial advice, but it's always a good time. Got a little bit of a red day going on here, so be interesting to hear some sort of macro thoughts and have Jake sort of calm us down and get us through the storm here. And then we've got some other exciting stuff to talk about. Jake has teased a bit here in chat, so eager to jump into it, man. But yeah, how you doing, brother? GM, Jake, what's going on?
Yeah, Jim. Doing great. Did a little family time up at the cottage for Father's Day, so it was nice to get a little refresh. Ready to get back after it in the markets. Um, yeah, dude. I wish I had some alpha in terms of like macro, but I'm like pretty. It's hard to give anything actionable right now. It's just like we've just been ranging for. I mean, since the very beginning of March, maybe end of February now. So like 3.5 months, and just between 58K and 78K have kind of been the levels. And it's hard to know like when that's gonna end. Like it could end any week, or it could last for another 3.5 months through the summertime. Usually summertime is a lower volume. People are touching grass. Market chops a bit. It's kind of what happened the last few summers. So I'm not particularly bearish, but I'm also not like super bullish at the spot either. It's kind of just like wait and see at the moment. I think um if anything, like ETH is probably my favorite here just because it has the upcoming catalyst of the ETFs. There's been some speculation around um them launching maybe like early July, but we don't have a date yet. I think I haven't looked into it too much in terms of what the S1 approval is. That's kind of what we're waiting on in order for them to get trading. I think get last we heard Gensler said that the S1 approval is going to be sometime in the summer, which is obviously a pretty big range. Um, but once we get that, then we can start trading. I believe for these ETFs, and I think once those are approved, that'll be a nice bullish signal for ETH in general. Um, and hopefully, the ETH BTC ratio starts ramping up here. Um, with the expectation that we'll get quite a bit of inflows into those ETH ETFs, and have it be a pretty similar trade to what happened with Bitcoin prior to when trading went live for Bitcoin stuff. Just that expectation versus kind of like the dump on the get go of trading. So yeah, right now, alts are kind of bleeding across the board. That might continue. Memes, especially, are getting hit pretty hard. Um, Seems like meme coin season has slowed down quite a bit. I'm personally like not crazy interested in memes at the moment. It seems like quite a lot of top signals for the meme stuff, especially with all the celebrity coin stuff going off. Like every single D-list celebrity is launching a coin, and everyone knows by now it's just like a pump and dump playbook. It's just not really going to last, and there's been all this fighting on the timeline about it. And it just seems like there's like a million memes out there that's like, what do we even back? And I don't know. In my opinion, I'm not really into many meme coins at all at the moment. I think there might be like a flight to quality pretty soon here, where people just stay with majors or like more bullish alts with a bit of utility, as people kind of get sick of the bleeding in the meme coin streets. That's kind of my overall take in macro. I know it's not a lot. I do have. I know we'll talk about it in a minute. I teased a conviction play that I'm really excited to talk about um, soon here in the altcoin market. But in terms of majors and stuff, I would say right now, like if you're just looking for levels, I think 72K is another good one. If we were able to get back to there, um, I think that'd be a really good retest of resistance. I think that'd be like our third retest, 72, third to fourth. And in my opinion, if we can close above there, that would look really good. Otherwise, from now, it's kind of just like wait and see mode. Um, That's generally what I feel about macro. Not really. I feel like I don't really have much guidance or alpha there. If anyone else does, I'd love to hear opinions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's kick it out to the audience here. See if you guys got any thoughts. I mean, hell, you have more perspective than I do. I'm not sure what's going on. It feels like I don't know. It feels like the end of a cycle. It's kind of bizarre. I like your shout about flight to quality. I think it's a good shout. And then also just the meme coin mania or celebrity coin, I should say. It just feels really like topish, like end of the cycle type activities. And then now we're just kind of being bled out and bored to death. But yeah, so you thinking sideways summer is probably most likely outcome here?
Yeah. I'd say something similar to that. Unless we do see a breakout, which I guess isn't really anything actionable, but
Yeah, let me hold
um,
your feet to the fire here. Let's do how do you feel making a 30-day prediction? Well, I'll make a mark to follow this up in around the middle of July. What do you think we're going to be looking like?
oh, I mean, I feel not confident at all in what my prediction would be.
That's fair. Totally fair. Yeah. It's a prediction in and of itself. Love it. Anybody got
30 days, I'd probably
any
be 65K, honestly.
right. No change, plus or minus a couple K. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like we had that big dump before the FOMC stuff, but then it came out, not as bad as I think people were anticipating. But the dump continued. So yeah, I don't really know what the catalyst or narrative in the streets is. So
I will say, like, I don't think by any means like we're at a cycle top. I think it's like still pretty early, in my opinion. Like, I'm just thinking back to last cycle. It's not even anywhere close to like in terms of adoption. Like, I still think like most people think crypto is like it's like I mean crypto moves in the cycles for like the populace where it's like okay, crypto is like a complete scam into like, okay, maybe crypto's doing something to like, oh, I need to get back into this crypto thing. And then like, oh, crypto's the future. And then it turns out like, then it goes back to like, crypto's a scam again. It like goes through this whole cycle. And I still think it's like a lot of people are in the mindset that like like you see like the Tom Brady roast, like they're like shitting on him for like thinking like crypto is like a real thing still. And that was just like a week or like a couple weeks ago. It's just like I don't think like in general people are really even like retail is even like close to back. Maybe like a little bit. But I just see a lot of people calling for like I've seen like people call for tops in general for this cycle, and I just don't see it. I still feel like there's a lot more upside to capture here. I feel like a lot of people haven't even like came back for it to be a top yet. I think retail would have to come back and get scammed again and lose their money again for it to be a top. And I feel like they haven't even came back yet. So
Yeah. Also, sell in May and go away is not like it's legit. People say that everybody thinks it. So a lot of the time, summers are just weird. You can't expect huge pumps in the summer. Like you'll go through pockets of activity, but we've seen it every year where it's kind of quiet. There's things going on, but it's very like isolated, right? Like in 2021, we had DeFi summer, but even then, that was early summer, or was it 2020? Where like DeFi started popping off. And then we had, you know what I mean, the NFT craze where some NFTs still did really well in the summer, but still it was pockets of activity, right? You had crazy mints that might have minted like the pudgies that were in the summer, but they only really started pumping
right.
later in the fall. So, I mean, I think we're gonna be in for a crazy fall, maybe a bit choppy too because of the elections and stuff. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think that quarter is gonna be hot. I think that's when we're gonna start seeing things move like October, November.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on similar sentiment there. I think like even though I think summer's probably going to be a little duller, where like maybe the whole market doesn't pump, there's still going to be opportunities for sure. Like how you said, like DeFi summer, and then we saw like um in 2021, like August was like a huge time for NFTs, even though like the rest of the market wasn't really ripping. NFTs were going crazy in August of 21. So I think there's going to be like certainly pockets where you can definitely have money making opportunities, but maybe the whole market is not going to be like ripping type thing.
oh yeah, well I mean if everybody wants to sell in May and go away, that's fine. It's just going to give the people that are still here every day in the lab working the edge, right, for whatever narrative or meta is going to come next. So hopefully we can roll up our sleeves and identify some of that over the next coming weeks and months. And we'll be ready when retail does decide to come back.
One quick shout. You were saying if we had anything. Well, I just claimed on some ZK because of my Pudgy Penguin. So if you have a Pudgy Penguin, go claim. You're eligible. I just got like 8,000, almost 9,000 tokens for that.
Oh, good shit.
Go. Big W. Here's
How'd you
some
flip
links.
your airdrops?
Yeah, I was looking through the just to see why all my other wallets didn't qualify, and I saw Pudgy's. I'm like, oh, cool. I guess I get some fucking tokens after all. Oh, and Milady's too. I think it's Pudgy's, Milady's, and yeah, that's it for Pudgy Penguins and Milady holders.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I think we can move on from macro unless there's anyone has any other thoughts on where we might be going here.
Nothing from me, sir. I think ZK could be a good topic though, if we want to circle back, or if anybody has any stories or anything. I'm sure. I mean, I know I saw some people with the 100K, Max Allos in the ZK farming thread. I don't know if anybody's here, but yeah, if anybody had any stories, would be cool to hear.
Meg says, "Someone just say we're gonna go up. We're gonna go up eventually, Meg. Maybe not right now. Eventually, that's my prediction." Yeah, I didn't farm ZK, so I don't know a ton about it, or I don't really have a ton to share about it, I should say. I just saw a couple things around, like you mentioned, like people got excluded from even though they like farmed it pretty decently, as well as we were talking earlier. Canon D, one of our whale members, got excluded because someone randomly sent him and a bunch of other wallets like a token worth like nothing, and then they marked it as Sybil, so that's pretty shitty that ZK Sync is doing that. Seems like their Sybil detection system's pretty bad. Okay, Needs type in maybe there's an update resolution.
I will give a quick shout out. Excellent field report from Silva that went up 2 days ago, specifically about Sybil avoidance. For this exact thing, I think. But yeah, it goes over some upcoming airdrops, different ways that you can try and prevent being flagged. Practicing safe sex, I think, is a hilarious headline there. But
Layer 0, my bad. Sorry, I just got disconnected.
No, you're cool. Yeah, Layer 0. I think Pudgy's got an airdrop for that too, right? But yeah, great field report. Six jumped in there too, added some stuff. Good conversation going on after the field report, but. Really good resource, especially if you are farming the ZK stuff and got burned. Don't let that stop you from other opportunities going forward. It's just some different ways to approach it and stuff. So great field report.
Okay, nice. Kennedy is not on the updated Sybil list anymore and that was for Layer 0. Hell yeah!
And go, happy ending. Shit yeah.
We love to see that.
That sounded so just dumb if they can't detect and just reverse out, root out all that base transaction of the people who are sending it out. Pretty wild.
5 hours left for Fantasy Top Block, or was it less than 5 hours now for the new contest?
Good shout. Yeah, I don't want to keep anyone waiting who's looking forward to discussion, but I'd like to get into my new conviction case here. Feels good. It feels good to finally have something. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, drop the CA.
No, I was saying it feels good to finally have something to be convicted about because it's been, I don't know, felt like not a lot happening, but the market. But yeah, it's the pirate token, believe it or not. So I guess it's a similar conviction case of what I've already posted in the past, just regarding the Pirate Nation ecosystem. But they dropped a token last week. I can't remember what day. It's probably about a week ago now, maybe like 5 or 6 days ago. Yeah, like 5 days ago or so, 4 or 5 days ago. It dropped around I believe it opened at 7 cents on Bybit, and it got all the way up to about 40 or so. So a really nice pump right away. Let's see, what was all-time high? Yeah, 39 cents. And now back down to around 21 cents with a market cap of about 55 million. I just think right now it's super undervalued for what it is. I know we talked about Pirates a lot, but just in general around this specific price, I'm going to go into, market comparisons, why I'm bullish, team investors, utility of this, just to kind of give out this bull case. I'm hopefully going to write a field report if I get a little time today, as well. But I kind of want to lay it out here too, because I feel really good about this. Maybe even better than how I felt about WIF back when it was like around like 12 cents or so, 12 or 15 cents when I talked about it, and bought a big old bag. I obviously have a big old bag of this too. Disclosure, and none of this is financial advice, just simply my opinion. But I mean, just to start off, if you compare market cap of Pirate right now to a lot of these other games, big Web3 games, and of which, I would say I am more bullish on Pirate in general than all of these games, by a good margin. But if you just go down the list at some of these like big time, market cap is like 128 million right now. That would put Pirate at 49 cents. Pixels is 256 million right now. That would put Pirate at 97 cents if it was the same market cap. Prime is 382 million right now. That would put Pirate at $1.46. Illuvium, it'd put 502 million, $1.92 for Pirate. Sandbox, I mean, come on, why is Sandbox still worth this much? This is crazy. No one plays that game anymore. But that's 797 million market cap. That'd put Pirate at $3.04. And then like Gala Games is over $1 billion market cap. I don't know if anyone's playing Gala. I haven't heard about Gala Games in so long. But that would put Pirate at $4.14. And again, it's only 21 cents right now. I think even that these are all, look at like if they were to get similar market caps of these other projects, comparable projects in the ecosystem, that's just at current prices after they've bled a lot in the market. I mean, all these alts are down pretty big, just over the last few months. If you're looking at like all-time high, the bull case gets even crazier. Like big time all-time high, would put Pirate market cap at, if it was to achieve the same thing, it put Pirate price at like $3.62. Prime all-time high, it would put Pirate at $4.38. Sandbox, not even close to all-time high, but even just like the current year high of Sandbox, it would put Pirate at $7. So in my opinion, like it has a ton of room to run, just if we're comparing it to similar games. And Pirate also beats a lot of these games in important metrics like transactions, user count, daily active users, volume on marketplace, price of assets, in terms of like NFTs related to these games. In my opinion, I mean, Pirate is quite a bit higher in all these ranges. And again, their coin is worth not even close to that amount, and that transitions on to the team aspect of it, which is again why I'm so bullish. Like the co-founder or the CEO is a co-creator of Farmville, the game, which got up to 300 million players. It was a huge game on Facebook, like I don't know, like a decade ago or whatever. They reached over $1 billion in revenue, so they've had a gigantic success of a game already under their belt, and now they're working on this one in Web3. And it's not just obviously the CEO, but a lot of their team is extremely experienced on big time games. They have an former engineering lead at Riot Games for like League of Legends and Valorant, founding member of the Cash App, studio leads at Disney, Activision, EA, a lead of the go-to-market division at Stripe. So just honestly an absolutely stacked team, as well as investors who they were able to raise $33 million, not 33 million valuation, but that's how much money they raised themselves. I'm not sure what the exact valuation was, but they raised 33 million in the middle of the bear market when no one was raising any money. And that was led by A16Z, which is one of the premier crypto VCs, as well as, they had the co-founder of Twitch on their cap table, co-founder of Zynga, former CEO of Coinbase, a lot of big time names out there as well. And that's kind of what we've seen. Those kind of connections, we're able to get them big time listings right out the gate. They got listed on Coinbase on day one, which is a very rare thing for a lot of coins to be able to do. I think it's like in the bottom 5 of market caps for coins that are on Coinbase right now, if you go and look. So it was pretty crazy that they were listed on Coinbase at this market cap. I think it kind of just shows, how bullish this token is in terms of price appreciation, that Coinbase was able to, trust this team to list such a low market cap token right away on day one, just because they've been building for over 2 years now of this game. They've cultivated a hardcore community of players for 2 years now. We've seen them kind of just do everything right, in my opinion, by rewarding early investors. Like their first mint was free, the Gen Zero Pirates at the time, and now the Pirates got over 1 ETH. I'm not sure what they're at right now, like maybe like 0.8 or something like that. I haven't looked today. They've handled FUD really well. Their game was down for like a few days this past season, and they rewarded everyone who has been playing the game with chess. They gave like booty points towards their airdrop, as well as resources and such. And there's FUD around like the token allocation for whales, how it wasn't linear, so they responded by dipping into the ecosystem fund and rewarding whales an extra amount, so it was more of a linear airdrop, so not to piss them off. I just thought they've handled the responses. They've had the responses really well to a lot of FUD in the game. Just in general, super bullish on this team. At this price, I think the market's just wrong at the moment. I think we're seeing this dip recently. It's just because so many people have farmed this token, and they unlocked a pretty big amount of the supply right away. I think it was 16% of total supply was airdropped at TGE, which is a very hefty amount for airdrop TGE. And a lot of people have been farming it for quite some time now, and they're taking profits, which makes a ton of sense, which is why we see the dip of this price. But I think the profit taking is going to end relatively soon. We're seeing like over, I think it's like 65% of the tokens right now are staked. And in my opinion, we're close to bottoming on the local. I would say like at a local bottom. And from here, I just think like sky's the limit. In my opinion, I'm probably going to be DCAing out. So if you see me sell from my main wallet, like that doesn't mean I'm all of a sudden bearish. It just means like I'm gonna take profits over time on this coin because I have a lot of it. But I'm also staking and holding a lot of it for the long term too, because I believe in this team. So just wanted to share that. Would love to hear other people's opinions. I'd love to hear if you have counterpoints to what I said too. Everyone's opinions welcome here, but just wanted to give out that case, and I'll hopefully try and get something out in a written form too that's a little more articulate than what I can be over voice.
I think I remember Scott saying there's 150,000 wallets already signed up to Pirate Nation, and we're increasing by over 2,000 per day, which is nuts to me.
Yeah. Let me share the Dune dashboard. This is gives pretty good insight into Pirate Nation. It's also pinned in our Pirate Nation thread. 158K wallets right now. Yeah.
Wow, added 4K just yesterday. I mean, it's nuts, and they haven't really it's still very limited, right? It's still pretty gated. You could do things with just a regular pirate and walk around, but if anything, it gives you a taste of what's to come as a free user or whatever. So when they start getting down, like the mix of Web 2 and Web 3 and how to cater to different styles of players, some that want to spend, some that don't. I mean, the sky's the limit for this game, and I think so far they've done an insane job. So yeah, I mean, I've bounced in and out of the game. Sometimes I just wasn't playing and I was just farming gold. Other times I was, doing quests. Sometimes it was getting a little bit boring to just do quests or whatever it is, like, but you saw the evolution of the game with world bosses and this and that and other things coming out soon. I mean, yeah, PvP probably soon too, because they have that already in the game anyway. It's going to be interesting, man. I think it's going to be a really fun game and it's going to be very vast really soon.
Yeah. I also didn't even talk about the fact that yes, that this token is for the game Pirate Nation, but the studio behind it is called Proof of Play, and they've also built their own what they call as multi-chain to support on-chain gaming, because Pirate Nation is fully on-chain for the most part. I'm not sure. There might be like a couple things, but it's pretty much fully on-chain. And they're building this ecosystem of chains basically for other games to come and build on top of, in using their similar technology. So it's not just a token for it's not just a token for one game. It's a token for a whole gaming ecosystem. And there will be another token called, well, we don't know what the token's called, but it's for pop points or proof of play points, and you can stake Pirate right now to get that token. It's a very similar playbook to Blur, staking for Blast, except there's actual utility for this Pirate token, whereas there's not like any utility for Blur besides staking, because Pirate token you can actually spend in game for gems, which give you like speed boosts and energy boosts, as well as like custom skins and such. And there's already been I think like $250,000 for, let's see, yeah, $250,000 Pirate already spent in the game, and it just launched like 4 days ago. So yeah, and Scott Goat shared, I think it's the number one chain right now in terms of what is it number one in transactions per second? So doing
It's
more than
volume.
Arbitrum.
Yeah, volume of transactions. Yeah, just because it's a game, right? The nature of it, just constant back and forth.
Right. So that's more than Arbitrum, more than Base, more than Blast, more than Optimism. And this is just one game, and they're going to have, host multiple games in the future. So, yeah, big time conviction bet for me, but would love to hear other people's opinions too. I'll stop talking.
Oh, you're good, man. We love it. I'm glad that, we talked about it a little bit last week before the token went live. I'm glad that it went smooth and, it's that well with you enough to be, re-added to your conviction plays. Like the OGs will know, new members might not, but it was one of your first sort of conviction calls back when we had, channels dedicated to our favorite projects and stuff. So happy that, you've been sticking with them all this time, and then you're still seeing the bull case and the optimistic outlook, and they're handling everything well. I can also co-sign. I've spoke with the team publicly many times. We've done several AMAs, office hours, interviews, spaces with Pirate Nation, and I've always walked away impressed. You guys know I'm honest. Like when stuff sucks, I tell them, and I did, and they fixed things, and it's continuously improved, and they've always sort of had like this vision and really long term scope. Whereas, a lot of the tokens that you were comparing the market caps to and you opened up, these games, either they're not out or they did come out and they didn't meet expectations, and they're all just sort of withering and on their way out. Whereas Pirate Nation, I feel like, has the opposite trajectory, where it started kind of ass, but it's getting better and better as they go. They're adding more bullish elements to it, like the Apex chain and stuff. Their staff is constantly bull posting on Twitter, which is an important thing, just to get attention and make people take note. But they get a big cosign from me just because every time that I've held their feet to the fire, they've handled themselves very well and very professionally. I'm going to post a link to the Pirate Nation spaces that we did last week. It was really good. We talked about a lot of the stuff Jake's mentioned in here about their chain and future plans, and they also just like went into like their ecosystem and like the Genesis pirates and how they've avoided dilution, and they're just, I don't know, they seem to have it, man. They seem to have a really good grasp of what's important in the space. So I'm with you, man. I think the market's wrong. I just I added a little to my bag just now. I am a man of my word. You asked what people were going to do with the airdrop. I said I'm underexposed, so I'm going to buy a little more and stake it. I did do that. I got some at 12 cents, which I feel pretty pleased with myself about. But I'm going to keep BCAing in and add a little bit here, just from sharing your conviction. But overall, yeah, I'm totally with you, man. They get a big thumbs up from me.
Also, to add, like, people might think they're too late and they missed the airdrop, but they're doing seasons, so you're not too late. It might be a little bit like more expensive to farm or whatever, but there's still ways you can do it. They have different seasons. Now they have a new season for the next round of pirate token. They're also gonna have like ways of farming that other token for their chain. I mean, just get involved really and try to get into, like, try to find out what the best route is for you, whether it's staking pirate token or staking or just holding a pirate founder's pirate and playing with it through game. Like, there's things you can do right now to get involved, so it's not too late. I mean, they did it in a smart way where it wasn't fully front loaded, this airdrop, and it's not like you got everything and it's going to unlock over time. No, they're going to do like seasons of airdrops. So yeah, I think this farm is going to go on for a while.
Man, we need to incept the idea of like guilds to them so that we can just like gang up, because I know MVHQ is pretty deep with the pirates based on the pirate thread. That'd be pretty crazy. Here's a question in chat. Let's read it out. Just talk through it here. So if you want to get exposure to Pirate Nation, but not necessarily play, is it just buy a pirate and stake it for the proof of play points angle?
Yeah, I respect. Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great angle. If you don't want to put the work, if you don't want to put any like time into it, which in my opinion, it's actually like a fun game to play daily. It's kind of just like a quick little card battler game to like level up your pirates and play little gauntlets and do little quests every day. Um, but if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to spend any time, that's fine too. I think you can just play, or you can just buy the token itself, and then I would stake the token as well. I believe. I actually can't remember. Do you pay gas to stake the token? I think you do, right?
I think you do, but I think you can unstake it.
Yeah,
anytime.
you do.
So like that would be the only thing is like the gas cost, stake and unstake. But I think you might as well if you're going to hold it for a little while, because you're accruing proof of play points, which go towards their proof of play airdrop. If you do stake it, so even if you are holding it as like a swing trade, you might as well stake it as well, just to get those points at the time. And then you can always unstake. There's not like any type of time delay to unstake. You can unstake right away and sell right away if you want to at any time. So you might as well just do the staking if you are going to do it, and all you're really eating is that gas cost.
I guess the one thing that is front loaded is the multiplier for people that are staked. So if you do want to stake, you do it earlier, not later, because there's like an increased multiplier on how many points you're getting, and it drops by 10% per day.
Yeah, good call. It started at like 500%, or it was 550% if you claimed and staked all of yours the first day, and then as Jesus said, it drops 10% every day. So the more you wait, the worse multiplier you get. So it can be smart to what a lot of people have done has staked, even just like one pirate on different alt wallets, so you lock in a bigger multiplier. And then if you ever want to unstake on one of your wallets and sell, it gives you the option to rebuy and stake again at that higher multiplier amount on a different wallet if you so choose.
Pretty badass. Yeah, they seem to get it, and with reading between the lines, they did seem to imply they understand the need for both the founder pirates and the pirate token to have good price, just because of the exposure and stuff it brings to their chain and the attention that it can bring and players and all that stuff. So I think they are motivated, again, NFA, but definitely motivated for number to go up, obviously. And I think they have a mind for it, and they probably have plans and strategies and stuff that they can roll out. So I'm with you, man. Good choice.
Yeah. Another good question from Board Rava on how much time do you spend playing the game every day? I would say mine is around like 15 minutes or so. And that's with I also have like upgrade all fully upgraded ship and pirate. So I do all the hard gauntlet and all of the normal gauntlet and then the quests. Um the quests take like 20 seconds just to like if you want to quick click through them, but the gauntlets are the ones that take some time where you do the little battler and that varies a bit. It can be like if you don't have as upgraded stuff and you try to do like the harder gauntlets. Basically, the harder gauntlets that you can complete, the more points you get, which is the better, basically airdrop allocation that you get. Um, but it also can take more time if you have worse pirates and like worse up, like not as higher level pirates or not as high level ships. In order to complete these gauntlets, then it could take you a little bit longer time. So it's kind of like weighing that. And you also might not even be able to complete it if you have a lower level pirates. There's probably some harder gauntlets that you can't complete because it gets harder and harder as it goes by. So, but for me, as someone who has like fully upgraded stuff, it probably takes me like 15 minutes to fully clear everything for the day on one account. You could also play on multiple accounts if you want as well, but that would obviously, increase the time.
I can give you my perspective too, just as like a almost free to play player, just the free pirate with like a $50 ship. I'm not doing the hard. Excuse me. I'm not doing the hard gauntlets. I'm just doing the normal ones and the quests. And I'm guessing it takes me around 5 minutes, maybe like 5 to 8 minutes, depending on if I get distracted and tab out. But it's really quick and easy if you're just going in and doing the normal gauntlets. And it's also pretty easy to gauge if you're being too big for your britches. Like Jake was saying, trying the hard, you'll get your teeth kicked in pretty quick if you're not ready. So you can make that assessment whether or not you're wasting your time trying to beat that boss, or just moving on and sticking to the normals.
Yeah, even with a mid-range wallet, it could take you like over an hour to clear the hard gauntlets if you're trying to get fully completion. Just because like the last one is usually really hard, and the one before is like decently hard depending on the day. But yeah, like I'll do the full clear while I'm watching like movies or whatever, and it could take me over an hour clear two wallets just because of that, because I'm trying to get full completion and I don't exactly have like the best stuff for it.
Yeah, gameplay wise, it's very similar to Slay the Spire, just like a deck building, turn based card like combat deal. And then just for a more little little tidbit of nugget of info, I've got my 8-year old nephew is playing, and he's a beast. So I don't know what the lower bounds are on age to do this, but you can mark 8 as a low watermark there. He's crushing it.
Um, yeah, a lot of people are using VAs to farm as well, which I think is viable because you can farm. You can do this game for free too. There's free codes. You don't have to buy a Founders Pirate. It just obviously, if you buy the Founders Pirate, then it's a lot easier to farm, and you can farm more points, and you'll get obviously a bigger allocation because you're paying for a more premium asset. But you can do it for free too, and also make money. I've seen people in here who farmed during season one, for a month or two and got I don't know, like 3 or 4K pirate from a free account, which I think was around $1,000 or whatever for farming for a bit. I'm not sure what other people did. Maybe you just have to buy like a ship, like a level 1 ship or whatever for like 0.01, 0.015.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I'm super bullish in general on the game. I think there's a lot of different ways you can play it too, especially as the game gets more and more popular. I think there's going to be more opportunities. Like recently, they dropped like custom skins on the marketplace, and were like flippable. Like if you could buy for like $13, and now they're $50 on the marketplace. Um, and there's probably going to be similar opportunities like that as the player base advances, where you can flip the in-game items as well, because you're not just earning experience, you're getting in-game items as well, which are NFTs that you can buy and sell in the marketplace, if you have the ability to do so, which requires another it's a whole another conversation, but it requires what's called a trading license, which is an NFT that you have to buy. and burn on your account to build a trade, or you have to get to command rank 10, which I think takes about like a month and a half to get to if you're playing on an account.
Yeah, my personal the rabbit hole can go deep with the game. There is some like game theory and spreadsheets and stuff that you could work out. There's ship upgrades and stuff that you have to get from a shipwright that's on certain people's islands. Like there's like community building aspects and different game theory things as you go along. But I think like my take is that I'm just looking at the long term play for the proof of play chain, and maybe L2's maybe the new chain narrative is overplayed. That's I would listen to that argument too, but I think that the bull case that they have going on here with their chain is a lot stronger narrative than other games have. So I'm just locked in for the long term for the proof of play points, or the proof of play TGE rather. But that said, along the way, the game does have a lot of stuff that you can get lost in as far as like how you're playing, how you're managing your time, your resources. I mean, hell, even playing the marketplace recently has been very bullish and just green and profitable. Ship prices are going up. The individual parts, like all the missions that you do, are NFTs that are minted to you. Most of them are cheap, dollar or less, but some of them are pricey, and you can sell them. They have volume. And you could flip those on the marketplace too. So a lot of different ways, a lot of different things you can do already in the game. But sort of long term, I'm just focused on the proof of play stuff and think that their chain's going to go pretty hard whenever that does happen.
Yeah, I'm big on the chain as well as Pirate Nation itself. I think it's a pretty perfect game for once they eventually roll out mobile, which is certainly the plan. And I think it's going to be pretty similar to the Clash of Clans type game where it's super easy to play on mobile and level up. You'll be able to buy gems, right, to level faster. If you want to, you can do the pay to play to level faster, similar to Clash of Clans. PvP battling, gauntlets, all that, right on your phone. I think it will be a huge unlock for retail in the future. I'm not sure exactly if they've given any type of timeline on mobile. Scott, are you around? Have you heard anything about mobile timeline?
Some time for Scott here. During the spaces, he didn't mention mobile, but no time frame was given. He just said when testing time comes around for mobile, the Founders Pirates would be the first candidates to get early access. So if you got a founder, you'll know better than us.
They said later this year, no exact date. Yeah. So all these timelines, I'd probably usually push it back like at least like a few months from whenever teams say. I've learned in crypto, so maybe like early, maybe like Q1 next year for actual rollout. But yeah, I think that's all I have on Pirates. Unless anyone has any other talking points there.
I think we covered it nicely. I'm finishing up my gauntlet right now. I'm on Battle 5.
Okay, cool. We can move on. I guess there's a couple other things going on in the market. There's the photon. If we want to talk about that at all, it's more so like a rug. So I don't usually like to spend a ton of time on it. But for those who saw, like they kind of teased out. Basically, they teased that it was going to be an airdrop. They didn't specifically say that. They said a stimmy. I think it was like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. They made everyone tweet something to claim and said like you would need a tweet to claim. And then all of a sudden they said, "Oh yeah, we're actually not going to do an airdrop. We're just doing some kind of soul stimmy to like only 300 people." So then people are obviously pissed because they got teased about this airdrop, and they've been doing a points program for a long time. So people obviously assumed that there was going to be a token airdrop. So they got a ton of FUD for that. So then they came back and said, "Oh, that we're actually are going to have a potential token airdrop in the future." And then people funded that. They're like, "Potential? Or are you actually going to do it?" And then they said, "Okay, yeah, we're actually going to have a photon airdrop," but they never said when. So I think it was a pretty textbook example of a team fumbling the bag. Like Photon's an extremely heavily used product, but the shitcoin trading space for tools is extremely competitive at the same time. So in my opinion, they really fumbled a pretty big bag here by the way of their comms, teasing this type of airdrop to people, thinking that they're going to finally get rewarded for all their photon trading activity, because Photon's been raking in a ton of money in fees over the last several months. And then kind of giving the tease out like that, making people tweet out on their site or making people tweet out links to claim, and then all of a sudden kind of going back on it like this. My opinion, a pretty big blow to their brand rep. A lot of people are now talking about switching to. I know BullX is the new thing. I haven't checked it out yet, but that's kind of the new platform that a lot of people are switching over to after Photon did this tease/rug. Even though eventually they're going to do a token drop, but who knows when? But yeah, just quick take on that. Recap. If anyone else has anything on the Photon stuff.
Man, I had not heard this entire second half of that story. That's wild. You said it was for 300 people or something? The fuck?
Yeah, it was like top 300 people on the leaderboard.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. What a stupid thing. I remember people were like already speculating on that, how they're gonna know you had that tweet up or like know what your wallet is. Like it was already weird from the jump, but I didn't expect the 180. Also didn't expect Jake to get exposed in 4K here in voice hangout chat. Damn, Matt caught you slipping.
Oh, it's a very generous picture of me, so I'll take it.
Dop Daddy asking us if we talked about this. He joined late. Saku Monsters Beta. Oh my god, it's on Android. Holy shit. Where are my Android plebs at? Rise up.
Yo, I had that phone. I had a couple of those phones actually.
Is that a Razor? What is that? Is it
yeah.
Motorola Razor? Yeah, I had one of those too, man. That was the shit.
That was fun. It was like, man, we just dated ourselves.
Kids will never know, man. I thought I had a 4K camera in my pocket when I got that
Yeah.
Razor.
Finally. The only downside was I gave up my, the snake game on Nokia. I was kind of sad about that, but it brought other things with it.
Snake game went hard, but man, the custom ringtones on this were insane, dude.
I have to give a special shout out to Ross Boss, bro. He called like a cook and a half when he made that video for $1 Billion Cat. When he called it, I think it was around 10 sats. It's not 76. So it's it's been a nice little
Let's
cook.
go.
So good job, Ross. I think that's the best call in the last few weeks because it's been kind of quiet.
Congrats, Ross, and the whole Boss Dogs gang. I'm sure it extends out. GG's, man.
Yeah, it's like, we always talk about conviction plays. We talked about it earlier in this chat too, but that was one that he had. And he even made a video breaking down why he likes it and why he thinks it could do well because it's so memeable, right? With the people being able to put like the cat face on their PFPs and stuff. And that's exactly what's happening. People are starting to do that on the timeline and hear more and more people talking about it. So that's cool, man. I think we got in, well, whoever got in, I did actually on that call. That's why I owe him a bless actually. Even though I blessed him when I first bought it, I'll bless him again because now it pumped like crazy. But yeah, I mean that was a perfect call. I loved how he analyzed it, and I right away as soon as I heard him start talking about it, I had a good feeling about it. So yeah, bless up on Ross there. Good job.
Bless up. Shit, I'm sure if he can't talk now, I'm sure he'll be around for Boss Dogs later today to talk all about it. I'm sure his dad invited him back to dinner. Oh shit, Ross, GM.
GM, thanks so much, Shinza. Appreciate it, bro. Glad I cooked.
Has your family reclaimed you?
They are pretty indifferent, but one day.
All right, we'll keep working on it. Totally kidding, bro. Yeah, GG's. Man, we're getting nostalgic in chat. Going back to the T9 texting days. All right, beautiful. Do we got any more topics that we want to talk through today? Coming up top of the hour. It's a little bit slow over a week, but anything else anybody wants to get through? Jake or otherwise?
So a good topic in chat. We could talk through real quick. So there was some talk earlier about retail and tops and all that. Just curious if people are still feeling like if when retail comes for this cycle, if it won't be on less traditionally used chains, an example, Ton or similar. Just kind of similar how a lot of retail entered in 2021 with Solana, super cheap. Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's similar. I think it's a good point. Like, a lot of retail came in on Flow, right, with Top Shot as well in 2021, and that wasn't as big of a chain at the time too. I think it will be probably across the board a bit. I think it depends on what's going to be like a hit consumer app. Like I think, for instance, Pirate Nation could be one of those where or just that chain in general where retail comes on. If it is a hit app that people want to use, and there's not the friction of crypto involved. Like I think Top Shot was a good example of this, where you could just deposit with your bank account onto the platform and buy and sell these NFTs on the platform, and it didn't feel like this big crypto, learning experience onboarding hurdle for people to get through. I think once there's going to be killer apps that are similar, then that's probably the best spot for retail to come in on. But would love to hear other people's opinions.
Yeah, Jake, I could chime in. I think you nailed it. It really could be something like Pirate, and I think that we talked about this enough at Boss Dogs to say that it really has to do with friction to entry. I mean, we see with Bitcoin, it never really reached the peak users that Ethereum or Solana did, and I think that's just because it's a little bit more complicated setting up a Unisat wallet or Xverse wallet, and then deciding what type it's going to be, native SegWit, Taproot, et cetera, et cetera. So I think everything that has some technical complexity to it is just a barrier for retail to enter. The only thing that's going to make that barrier easier is consistent profits. So we kind of saw that, ETH 2021, there's just a ton of people joining because there was so much money to be made, or something where it's Trojan horsing crypto into a Web2 application. So to your point with Pirate Nation, once that goes mobile, if there's a way for them to just link it up with Apple Pay, and they can find a way where people just already get this wallet set up for them, all they have to do is click a button on their phone and they're good to go, and then they're seeing that they're earning money. That would probably be the easiest way, but I think it still is a little bit far off. We've been saying for years and years and years, we're just waiting until retail gets here and then it's going to hit. I think the term retail is pretty broad. I think there's always going to be people who are into crypto and people who aren't into crypto. But ultimately, I do think that just the more familiarized people get with crypto over the next couple of years, it's just going to be a slow trickle of users onboarding by various means.
Yeah, excellent takes. I actually would love to hear more about Ton, if anyone's experienced that. Maybe not. But I've heard good things. I've heard a lot of activities going on there, but I just haven't myself checked out the ecosystem at all. So are you pretty into it? I don't know if you're able to talk right now.
I'm more observing, as one does.
Gotcha.
I know Big Floppa has been bull posting a bit on Twitter. I think even a field report on Ton. My only exposure was actually a couple days ago, or 2 days ago or so. I just was shilled just a referral link to like a game within Telegram. It's like a little hamster that's like a CEO. It's like an idle game, right? You just like tap it and level up. But I don't know. You popped it open. It looked decent enough, and it was like, "Oh, install your Ton wallet." So I was like, "Sure thing." I didn't have a wallet at that point, and it was pretty easy to get set up and started. I've since been told that it's most likely an absolute dog shit project and not worth my time, but at least got me poking around. I mean, I'm not a Telegram native. I honestly despise Telegram. But seeing the game like in the widget at the bottom built in, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I would love to hear some more takes on Ton if anybody has any backstory or bull case or bullish projects or anything.
Yeah, I could chime in here. I think that I went to GM Vietnam a few weeks ago and met quite a few developers, kind of just painting the picture of how fast Telegram games are churned out locally, like around 2 weeks, and they can put together like a very simple Telegram game that can help a lot of projects like onboard users really quickly. Hamster Combat obviously is like one of the bigger ones right now, and I think they have something like 150 million active users, which is insane compared to what we've seen from a social farming standpoint on any other platform. So like people that like there definitely is a ton meta going on, whether or not it's profitable, and I think it only takes one or two really unprofitable airdrops for it to like subdue a bit. But so far with like how successful Notcoin has been prior to Hamster Combat, people are definitely farming Telegram games just because of how easy it is. And Hamster Combat low key is pretty fun for a non-gamer like myself. I think that it's a bit addicting just trying to at least like it doesn't require you to be active all the time. It's just pretty passive. Every day you have like 3 cards that you find from the stack that gives you that level up, like 5 million extra points. And everyone shares the answers anyway, so it's not difficult at all. And then there's like a Morse code thing. So, and there's like a little bit of strategy if you want to upgrade all your cards to get as much like passive points per hour, like things like that, that just doesn't require too much brain power, in my opinion. But definitely, like, I think there's another one called Catizen. That's another one that people are talking about farming. But again, it really just takes like 1 or 2, like either really successful airdrops or really unsuccessful airdrops for the meta to like continue or die, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and appreciate you jumping in and sharing some context there. Thanks too. I feel less crazy because yeah, like the first couple minutes of playing Hamster Combat, I was like, yeah, not bad. I mean, it's kind of just a copy paste of like those like idle like adventure capitalist or like billionaire tycoon. Like those first few minutes are pretty fun, right? Like getting all the upgrades and stuff. I was like, oh, maybe there's something here. I didn't know 150 million users. That is insane. I
Yeah.
did see one of the quests. It was like, oh yeah, subscribe to our YouTube, and they had like 22 million. I was like, damn, okay. I'm curious though, Notcoin, did that have a game as well? So it sounds like Notcoin, I guess, like laid the trail for people. Was that something similar to this?
I didn't participate in it, but I know people who did like made a bag. So and obviously it
Got
tokens
it.
it pretty well. But from that's what I keep hearing like it being compared to. I don't know if, what format it came out of because I obviously missed that.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, good call. Yeah, so I heard similar things. Yeah, compared to Notcoin. So it sounds like Notcoin was a big cook, and now everybody's chasing. So yeah, I feel what you're saying. All it takes is a couple that don't hit, and then it'll kind of unravel. But that's a great point to jump off as far as digging in and doing some research and stuff. Appreciate it.
Yep, all good.
Anybody else? Anybody hit on Notcoin? Can share some background there. That would be very dope. But either way, I'm gonna dig in myself.
Yeah, ton's not one that I have gotten into yet. I honestly don't like using Telegram. I'm a Discord maxi myself. So that's probably the reason why. Even though I know there's opportunity there, it's one of those things where there's so much going on. I can't get into all of it, but with so many users, I mean that kind of volume or that kind of activity speaks for itself. So maybe I'm gonna have to dip my toes in. I don't have much else for today. I had one other thing that I thought might be interesting to talk through. I know we talked about Blast a lot, but we're heading into TGE real soon here. And I kind of wanted to talk through. I'm sure this is it's a dilemma that I'm having, and I'm sure it's a dilemma that a lot of other people who are farming Blast are having too. Is like what to do on these with these projects, with these assets from these different Blast projects heading into TGE, like selling now versus are just keep farming up until TGE. I think a lot of people are expecting that there's going to be another season of Blast, even though I don't think that's been officially confirmed yet. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And that, maybe these are going to continue to have value for farming purposes for future Blast allocation seasons. But things like fancy top cards are obviously a big one since they have an enormous amount of Blast gold. And then that goes away on, I believe the 25th is the last day for distribution. D1 keys and shares, Captain Co assets, Cambria farming as well. I think are some of the biggest ones. Yeah, I would love to hear, I guess, opinions on any specific ones or just Blast projects in general heading into TGE. Because I know a lot of us are kind of wondering, do we sell now before everyone else? Before everything dumps, or to keep farming, is that worth it? I would love to hear thoughts on how people are playing this right now.
I mean, candidly, Jake, I'm kind of bearish. I am openly bearish in the crypto space when I think the time is right, and I do get some flack. I'm not trying to flood anyone's bags, but I think you just have to look at an EV perspective, and I'm always just trying to base it off of things that we've seen in the market before. I'm pretty sure we've never seen an airdrop season 2 that's outperformed season 1. I know Blur Season 2 did relatively well. There were some whales who were unhappy because they lost money farming it, but there were still people in here who made a ton of money. So I think with Blast specifically, it's probably going to be a pretty huge airdrop. A lot of liquidity going into the space. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a Season 2, but I think right now, with still a couple of weeks left until the TGE, the downside is probably going to be pretty significant. I think there's a way where you could play both angles and just sell now, keep a little liquidity in like USDB or something, and then if they announce Season 2, there's always going to be some time to buy back in. I'm sure there's still going to be a big dip at the TGE. But I mean, I was kind of expecting this a little bit sooner. I went short on Pac Moon around like 21 cents ish, and it's down like 60% from there because I mean, I just don't really see people using this ecosystem beyond farming. So I'm personally bearish. My take would just be sell it all, stack it up, and then wait for another entry. But, you know, again, that's not financial advice, and that's just my bias.
I love it. even if I don't fully agree, I think I love having the different opinions on this. I think in general, for sure, like I think a lot of the stuff, in my opinion, is going to go down. It's probably like just weighing right now for me. It's like weighing how much gold can you farm in the next 9 days, 8 days, versus like with these assets, versus like how much it's going to go down, and what that difference is like the main thing that I'm weighing right now. Like especially for Fantasy Top, where a lot of prices have already fallen quite a bit. It's like, all right, they're gonna do this 1 million gold competition here starting today, where you have to lock in your cards today. Is it worth it to sell into this competition, or should I just play it, right, and hopefully recoup that amount from gold? Like right now, I'm probably gonna play like in the rare contests, and my rare deck is worth like 0.4. And it's like, am I gonna get it? Enough gold from this rare contest to make up whatever the difference would be of how much these cards are going to drop in price. I'm leaning towards just playing it, and I think it's probably going to make up what that would be. I would love to hear other people. I'm sure a lot of people who are playing Fantasy Top are in similar positions as me right now. Shinzo or Silva, I'm gonna call you out. You guys are in Fantasy Top, right? What do you feel?
Yeah, sorry, I was away from the PC, but I'm back. Yeah, it's not just like the price drop is hit from a couple different angles because people are getting so many new cards to every tournament. So, like, I mean, we can try to calculate it, but fuck, they're dropping like thousands of cards everywhere, hundreds of cards every tournament, and it's going to the top of the board. People that don't need the cards, so they're dumping them on the market too. They're all hoping that people are going to burn to increase their decks or whatever, but the people that are overly invested are the ones getting the cards, and they're the ones who are making or adding to the sell pressure by selling those cards to recoup a little bit. So you add to that the people that are trying to cash out, and you know I think that's gonna ramp up with the next few tournaments because there's not that many. There's only like 10 days left or whatever until Blast drops the Blast Gold stuff, or at least announces what's next. So yeah, you're basically gambling on, are they going to have a new season of ways of keeping us engaged, and is Fantasy Top going to get a bounce off of that? Are they going to get new type of rewards to give? Because the ETH that they made is not sustainable for rewards, and they're adding too much. They're diluting the market way too much on the cards, I feel, to keep this thing alive and healthy for long. Because if people lose interest, and let's say we lose a large amount of the player base just because everybody's here for the gold anyway, and most people probably aren't into this type of thing, it's probably going to tank hard. Like, we see it coming, Jake, because we play DFS, we play Rainmakers, and we see what card dilution does to markets, right? So we kind of ahead of the curve on this. Yep. But I feel like a lot of the people don't realize yet, you know what I mean? And they're maybe like, they don't realize yet how hard this could dump. And we've already seen it. Like, I mean, prices are down more than like 50-60% in like a week or two. So I think it can only get worse, honestly, unless something huge, like an insane announcement comes out from the Blast team, not even really the Fantasy Top team, because I feel like they've dropped the ball a couple times already, and people are already kind of on, like, not on like like kind of shaky with their reputation a little bit, and I don't think they really know enough about this type of market and this type of game to keep it healthy for long. That's just my take. I think other people have different takes, but I just like, since we've seen it before from a really top team like Rainmakers, and even they made a bunch of mistakes in the last, what is it, like 3 years now, or 2 or 3 years that they're doing it, and they had to evolve from their starting point and from their mistakes. I feel like Fantasy Top is still very new, and they're gonna make some mistakes that might not be recoverable in this market.
Yeah, I'll chime in with a little dissenting opinion there. I'm bullish Fantasy Top. I think it has a chance to be kind of one of the, if not the top DApp or product coming out of Blast. If only because it's novel, it's unique, it's new, and I think we've seen apps and dApps like that on other chains have been real boons just for the adoption and the narrative behind it. Thinking like friend tech on base, right? So I think this has the chance to really spur bigger adoption than just any other random L2 blockchain that sets up a point system for farmers. Granted, that is based on a pretty big what if. I am fairly convinced there will be a season 2 of Blast farming. Just knowing Pac-Man's whole playbook from Blur, we've seen it time and time again. Even if it doesn't look exactly the same as what we're doing now with gold and all that, I don't understand how anyone in their right mind could think that this is just going to be the end of it, right? Not to mention, there needs to be a way to distribute the rest of the tokens after the first kind of distribution on TGE. Tie that into who Pac-Man has kind of shown his hand to be throughout his crypto career, and just some of like my biggest conviction honestly comes from reading Blast's blog posts, right? Delivered by the team, written by them, and the verbiage and the language they use. It all indicates that there will be future seasons of Blast Gold. So I'm betting it on that. And if that's the case, they'll continue to be one of the top 2 or 3 earners of gold. So if that continues on for another couple of months, I think, they'll get $1 million gold every 2 to 4 weeks, right? So I think Pac-Man will essentially continue to subsidize the prize pool for fantasy, on top of having 4,000 ETH in their contracts, that they have just to sit on. Even if Blast Gold completely goes away in a week and a half, they, for like Jinzo said, it was a great point. That ETH won't last forever, but 4,000 ETH does go a long way, right? Not to mention the fact that it's 4,000 ETH just sitting there racking up, yield every single day, right? So they haven't been paying out a ton of ETH necessarily for the last few months of competitions, but they have like the ETH that they have essentially in their, stored up in their bank. It has gone up, right? It has never decreased, even after distributing rewards, sending out ETH to prize pools, all that. So I think that's kind of a fairly bullish thing that not a lot of people are realizing. They make 3 to 5 ETH I think every day or two, just from it sitting there, right? So if they can even just kind of keep that cadence up, there's no reason why that that distribution pool shouldn't increase over time. Again, granted, that's with the caveat that I think there will be more Blast Gold. So yeah, I'm bullish on all things Fantasy Top, just from kind of those mechanics that I've outlined, as well as and this is something that you couldn't see until really the last few months. But again, I agree with Jinzo where the team has definitely made some mistakes. I think they've had their growing pains. They continue to have them. However, they've shipped fast, which I think is always bullish. They're willing to listen to the community and make changes. I think as evidenced by seeing kind of Cap go in there and really influence kind of how their prize pool structure should pay out. So those are all things that give me some confidence in the underlying team that they'll try to work with it. If they make a mistake, they'll own up to it and they'll try and fix it for the next one. No team is going to be perfect. So all things considered, I'm pretty bullish on Fantasy Top and Blast in the future post TGE. I think it's going to be. I mean, I know Scott Coe and plenty of others have said it, but Blur was the exact same way. People slept on season 1, said it's going to be worth pennies. People made hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, right? Same thing for season 2. People said, oh, well, it's going to be worth nothing. Token is down only. And they gave out, another $300 to $500 million in Blur. It's hard for me to fade Pac-Man and all of what he's built when it's been nothing but success after success after success. So until he messes up and burns me, I'm gonna choose to keep believing in the Pac-Man.
Yeah, I agree with that take. For sure. I have a small wallet, and I don't think I'm gonna sell at these prices just because of that. Because fuck it, 1 ETH. I mean, making all kinds of gold anyway with it. It might bounce. I might even buy a dip if it gets really bad towards the end of the month. I agree that they could succeed, and actually that's a really good point about the ETH. They haven't used it, and I think that's on purpose because they want to keep it as a, you know what I mean. They want to keep this thing alive, obviously, so they don't want to just basically dump it all into rewards right away. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm having fun with it. Like I was saying, most people might not want to play this long term, but I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it just because I like DFS as a whole, and I think it's a great concept. And I think, if they do keep fixing their errors like they have, like I mean, they can have success. And I agree with you too, where we've seen it a million times with Pac-Man. He's gonna fucking before the end, another new punch is gonna come out, and hopefully that's gonna reward ecosystems like Fantasy Top. And we could keep going with Blur, with Blast. But yeah, I gotta go. I forgot my headphones, so I can't jump in on these calls on my car. But we'll talk soon, guys. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Thanks, Jinzo.
I
Yeah, man.
definitely think that this airdrop is a good time to reset as well. Like I'm like looking at all the places that I like put like tokens or like just staked or like provided LP, and like I'm like I need to like count where my stuff is at, and I think it's going to be a good wake up call to like check where you've left money on Blast, when it TGs.
Yeah, I think that's a great call, especially considering we don't know. I mean, even though a lot of us, I think the sentiment is that there's going to be more farming. I'm feel pretty confident about that. But we also don't know what the criteria will be. I'm sure, with a new season, they'll probably change things up from what might not have worked as much, or if they want to incentivize different things on the chain. So maybe our current positions aren't the optimal positions going forward with whatever the new criteria is. So I think that's a really good point of, maybe it is a good time to reset a bit and think about, where to deploy capital once we know, I guess, what the rules of the game will be once this new season starts off.
Yeah, I really like that a lot, Jake. And I think that's kind of where the bear thesis is coming from. It's more so just you can always reevaluate once they announce it more. But I want to shout out Silva. That was dope. I definitely was not specifically referencing Fantasy Top. And that's awesome that you're like digging into the blog posts and on Blast and seeing that there's this indication of a second season. So I'm sure there will be more farming for what it's worth. I just think it's like there's so much uncertainty right now that I think a safer play is just to get in cash and then wait and see. And then once everything's announced, sort of evaluate and take it from there. But yeah, I'm sure there's good things to farm. Is IKB still chugging along? I think that's like my favorite way to farm for gold. It's pretty straightforward, not having to hold any digital assets.
Yeah, IKB has been awesome. I've spoken about it too much. I've given away too much alpha. The people in the FS chat are getting mad at me. But at least for this next 10 days, it'll continue to be a really good farm if you know how to play it optimally. If you want to check it out, come to the I forgot what the name of the chat is. DraftKings betting, whatever, focus thread.
Man, I predicted that one. As soon as you were talking about the amount of gold you were getting, I was like, hey, man, these people are going to be mad at you for saying that.
Yeah. I've shut my lips from that on. Yeah, that's all I had on Blast stuff. We'll wrap it up. Anything else you guys wanted to chat through? I mean, we can go all day in here, but any other topics?
Not for me, brother. I feel like I can probably go ahead and cut the recording here. Pirate buys looking good. Hopefully that was a bottom, man, right? When you called that at 20 cents. We'll see.
I'm feeling good about it. If you want like some levels to look at, OX Fibonacci, who's been the goat at posting TA, had a really good graph. I'll share his. I'll repost his in voice hangout chat as well. Yeah, breaking this downtrend right here. If we do that, it'll look pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I should probably just screenshot it.
Blue looks like the DCA zone to me.
Yes, sir. Very bullish on Pirate. Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you guys contributing as well. But it was a awesome episode today.
Yeah.
And we
great one.
got what time's Boss Dogs this week? Let me look. Oh, later today, 5 p.m. Eastern. Boss Dogs Ordinal Show, baby.
Hell yeah. 5 o'clock Eastern. See y'all there. Yeah. And yeah, again, appreciate everybody jumping in. Love the contributions from everybody today. And we'll be back same time next week, 12 Eastern, Monday, for some Wake and Jake. Appreciate you guys.